So this is day 87 of Through the Bible in 1 year. And what that basically means is if you're following along with us day by day, we're going to literally be showing you how easy it is for you to get through the Bible, literally taking about 30 minutes every single day and actually working your way through the Bible, the whole Bible in 1 year. And a great tip I'll continue to say to you over time is whenever you're reading the scriptures, always, what I try to do is anyway, I always try and get at least one thing. So what I did is I've given you some key events that we're going to cover today. So we're going to cover the death of a priest, okay, which is obviously always a big thing when it comes in the scriptures. We're going to get a plague by God. We're going to get an offering by unbelievers. Normally we're going to see offerings in the scriptures by people that believe in God. Obviously in this particular situation, we're actually going to have an offering made by some unbelievers. We're going to get some evil judges rear up, and this is obviously really interesting because we just covered the book of Judges a couple of years, and we're going to wrap up the Bible study with a new king. Let's start at chapter 4 of 1 Samuel verse 1, and it reads, And the word of Samuel came to all Israel. Now Israel went out against the Philistines to battle, and pitched beside Ebenezer, and the Philistines pitched in Aphek. And the Philistines put themselves in array against Israel, and when they joined battle, Israel was smitten before the Philistines, and they slew of the army in the field about 4,000 men. So the first thing we can highlight, and this is, I guess I'll walk you through some of the things you can do when it comes to studying the Bible, okay? So we're dealing with 1 Samuel 4 here, okay? And what have we seen already? We've seen a battle, okay, with the Philistines, which has resulted in, at this point, what does it say in verse 2? It says 4,000 men, okay? And these are the kind of things as we go down, you're getting and gathering clarity about what's actually happening, okay? Let's do this. Verse 2, all right? And when people were coming to the camp, the elders of Israel said, Wherefore hath the Lord smitten us today before the Philistines? Let us fetch the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of Shiloh unto us, that when it cometh among us, it may save us out of the hand of our enemies. So the people sent to Shiloh, that they might bring from thence the ark of the covenant of the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth the cherubims. And the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phineas, there with the ark of the covenant of God. And when the ark of the covenant of the Lord came into the camp, all Israel shouted with a great shout, so that the earth rang again. So they obviously now draw that ark of the covenant from where it basically is, and this has basically boosted them around. They think because the ark of the covenant is with them now, they're basically lucky, so to speak, and now that's going to give them a boost in war. Let's keep going. 6. And when the Philistines heard the noise of the shout, they said, What the noise of this great shout in the camp of the Hebrews? And they understood that the ark of the Lord was coming to the camp. So the Philistines have heard, they've seen that the ark of the covenant has come, and they basically know now that the Israelites are obviously boisterous and boisterous and are feeling confident about themselves. And look what it says. 7. And the Philistines were afraid, for they said, God is come into the camp. And they said, Woe unto us, for there hath not been such a thing heretofore. So they're basically scared. Look what they said. 8. Woe unto us, who shall deliver us out of the hand of these mighty gods? These the gods that smote the Egyptians with all the plagues in the wilderness. So what do? The Philistines refer back to Exodus. And they're doing that because in Exodus, that is where God delivered the Israelites with a mighty hand. And that's what they're alluding to, okay, in verse 8. Now we get to verse 9. Look what they say though. Be strong and quit yourselves like men. So man up, basically, just in 2019 vernacular. O ye Philistines, that ye be not servants unto the Hebrews, as they have been to you. So they're basically telling you, alluding to the fact that up until this point, okay, let's do it here, the Philistines have got Israelites captive. Okay. And this is something you should think about anyway. Going back, I already alluded to this in the book of Judges. They went into captivity, came out of captivity, went into captivity, came out of captivity. The scenario was cyclical in different, just over and over in the book of Judges. And this is basically the next chain of events. So they're alluding to the fact they're still in captivity. Okay. And look what it says next. Let's put verse 9. Verse 10. And the Philistines fought, and Israel was smitten, and they fled every man into his tent, and there was a very great slaughter, for there fell of Israel 30,000 footmen. Okay? So, Philistines wipe out 30,000. Okay? Let's put Israelites as well. So, firstly, what happened? They heard the Ark of the Covenant was around and they got scared. But then they basically mustered up the courage and said, you know what? We've oppressed them. Okay? So, let's go to the battle. We beat them already. Let's go back. And this time, they wipe out nearly 10 times what they did the first time. Okay? And that alone should show you something's wrong. Why? Because between here and here, between 4,000 and 30,000, okay, between verse 2 and verse 10, the Ark of the Covenant actually become present. That should show you that things are really bad in regards to the Israelites scenario. 11. And the Ark of God was taken, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phineas, were slain. Okay, so they were priests in their own right. Okay, so really what we could do here is do this. Okay, because right now in the first video we did on the book of Samuel, we've read about how God was basically going to wipe them out because of the wickedness that they kept doing. Okay, let's keep going. And they ran a man of Benjamin out of the country the same day with his clothes rent and with earth upon his head. And when he came, lo, Eli sat upon a seat by the wayside, watching, for his heart trembled for the ark of God. That's the priest, okay, the high priest. And when the man came in, all the city cried out. And when Eli heard the noise of the crying, he said, what the noise of this tumult? So the man basically run back. He's basically screaming, telling everyone the situation. Eli hears what's going on and is asking, what's basically going on? Because he's in fear of the Ark of the Covenant, of it getting destroyed or taken or something along those lines, because it really shouldn't be out there at this time. Okay. 14. And when Eli heard the noise of the crying, he said, what the noise of this tumult? And the man came in hastily and told Eli. 15. Now Eli was 98 years old, and his eyes were dim, that he could not see. And we've seen this in the previous chapters already. Okay. The priest was supposed to keep the light burning in the tabernacle. We read a couple of chapters ago, his eyes were dim at that point, and he had let the flame go out, basically. Okay, which really was a symbolization and synonymous with the Israelites going cold, going dead, basically. So it's alluding to that fact here again. He's 98 years old. He's old. 16. And the man said unto Eli, I he that came out of the army, and I fled today out of the army. And he said, what is there done, my son? 17. And the messenger answered and said, Israel is fled before the Philistines, and there have been also a great slaughter among the people. And thy two sons also, Hophni and Phineas, are dead, and the ark of God is taken. So what happened? Hophni and Phineas, okay, have been killed. But even more severe than this, okay, because these two were wicked men. Plus, the ark of God is taken. Okay. 18. And it came to pass, when he made mention of the ark of God, that he fell from off the seat backward by the side of the gate, and his neck brake, and he died. Okay. 17. For he was an old man and heavy, and he had judged Israel 40 years. So not only is Hophni and Phineas dead, okay, Eli is now dead too. And the significant thing in this situation is, what did God do? Notice how Eli's sons died before Eli. Okay? And then after his sons died, he died. So really, theoretically, his lineage would be over. He's dead and 2 sons dead. But watch what happens here. Okay? 19. And his daughter-in-law, Phineas' wife, was with child. Okay, so Phineas. Okay. To be delivered. And when she heard the tidings that the ark of God was taken, and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she bowed herself and travailed, for her pains came upon her. And about the time of her death, the women that stood by her said unto her, Fear not, for thou hast borne a son. But she answered not, neither did she regard. So his wife, okay, is with child as all of this stuff is going on, and she's to be delivered. And at the point she hears that the ark of God's taken and her husband is dead, she basically is in departing, okay, she's dying. And she named the child 21 Ichabod, saying, the glory is departed from Israel, because the ark of God was taken and because of her father-in-law and her husband. Okay, so if you want to say the lineage is hanging by a thread, because out of all of them, one person survived. Okay, and they called the son Ichabod, saying, the glory is departed from Israel. Okay, and that wraps up chapter 4. So let's go to chapter 5 now and see what that has in store for us. Okay, 1 Samuel 5. So what have we seen already? We've seen not only the death of the priest, we've seen the death of the priests. Okay, so we've still got a plague by God to come. We've got an offering by unbelievers. We've got evil judges, and we've got a new king as well. The Philistines took the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of God, they brought it into the house of Dagon and set it by Dagon. Okay, so the first thing we see is the Philistines set up the ark next to their false god. Okay, and if you haven't already figured this out, that's not really going to be something really smart and wise to do. 3. And when they of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon fallen upon his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord, and they took Dagon and set him in his place again. So they wake up and Dagon, okay, is down. Dagon is down. So they lift him back up and put him back in the same place. Okay. 4. And when they arose early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord, and the head of Dagon, and both the palms of his hands cut off upon the threshold. Only Dagon was left to him. So, next day again, Dagon's down. Not only is he down again, but now his arms and his head has actually been broken off. So you've only got basically the last part, the torso, so to speak, of the idol that they've actually reared up. And what do they do this time? 5. Therefore, neither the priest of Dagon, nor any that come into Dagon's house, tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod unto this day. Okay? But the hand of the Lord was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and smote them with emerods, Ashdod and the coast thereof. Okay? So, to go even one further, the Lord plagues them. Okay? For doing this nonsense. And yes, we've now covered the plague that God's actually put upon them, and we know exactly why God put a curse on them, basically, because they stole the Ark of the Covenant, and not only did they steal it, they decided to rear it up next to their false god, which God was basically showing them that, look, your false god's no one, we can break him in 2 days, okay? Very simple. And on top of that, I'm going to plague you as well, just for the disrespect. Look what he says next, though, because the plague continues. 7. And when the men of Ashdod saw that so, they said, the ark of the God of Israel shall not abide with us, for his hand is sore upon us, and upon Dagon our God. They sent therefore and gathered all the lords of the Philistines unto them, and said, what shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? And they answered, let the ark of the God of Israel be carried about unto Gath. And they carried the ark of the God of Israel about. So what do? They don't even say, they've just been plagued, and they don't say, let's get rid of it, let's destroy it, or whatever, okay? They say, move the ark to somewhere else. What do you think is going to happen now? And it was that after they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord was against the city with a very great destruction. And he smote the men of the city, both small and great, and they had emerods in their secret parts. Okay? So they decided, we're going to move the ark to Gath. And then what happened? The plague moved. So they say, let's move the ark to Ekron. Let's see what happens. 10. Therefore they sent the ark of God to Ekron, and it came to pass, as the ark of God came to Ekron, that the Ekronites cried out, saying, they have brought about the ark of God of Israel to us, to slay us and our people. Okay, so they already know what's going to happen. So they sent and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines and said, send away the ark of God of Israel, and let it go again to his own place, that it slay us not and our people, for there was a deadly destruction throughout all the city. The hand of God was very heavy there, okay? And the men that died not were smitten with the emerods, and the cry of the city went up to heaven, okay? So what are we getting allusions to? Verse 12, if I remember correctly, says, the plague spread to them, but also some died. And what did the men of Ekron say? They say, send it back. Because they know the plague is traveling wherever it goes, okay? You set up next to a false god, the false god gets demolished within 2 days. They move it, the plague spreads to the people. They move it again, the plague spreads again. They move it again, the plague spreads again, and people die, okay? And that might even be alluding to the fact that people are dying in these places as well. But emerods, okay? Anyone who knows what emerods is, okay, post it in the comment section below. Verse, okay? So we've seen the death of priests, 3 priests, Hophni, Phineas, and Eli, okay? And Eli was the high priest. We've seen the plagues of God travel from city to city as the Philistines try and move the ark of God back. And imagine, we've already had some big events already. And even if we just had one of these things to rear its head today, would have been enough. But let's keep going, okay? And the ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. And the Philistines called for the priests and the diviners, saying, what shall we do to the ark of the Lord? Tell us wherewith we shall send it to his place. Okay, so they already know. Okay, their first point of call is, what shall we do? So they already know they need to send it back. They're asking themselves, how are we going to send this thing back? And the Philistines, okay, read that verse 3. And they said, if ye send away the ark of the God of Israel, send it not empty, but in any wise return him a trespass offering. Okay. So they reply, send it back. Okay. With a trespass offering. Okay. Add a trespass offering, which we shall return to him. They answered, 5 golden emerods and 5 golden mice. Okay. 5 golden emerods, 5 golden mice. You may be thinking, why 5 golden emerods, 5 golden mice? The number of the lords of the Philistines for one plague on you all and on your lords. Okay, so there's obviously 5 lords of the Philistines, so they're saying send a golden emerald and a golden mice on behalf of each of the 5 lords. 5. Wherefore ye shall make images of your emeralds and images of your mice that mar the land, and ye shall give glory unto the God of Israel. Peradventure, he will lighten his hand from off you and from off your gods and from off your land. So we're also getting more context, okay? The plague was killing people. The plague, let's just do this. The plague was killing people. The plague was obviously decommissioning people. And the plague was also marred the land, okay? So it's messing up the land as well. Six, wherefore then do ye harden your hearts as the Egyptians, and Pharaoh hardened their hearts when he had wrought wonderfully among them? Did they not let the people go and they departed? So again, they allude back to Egypt. And God's deliverance. God done many wonders and works. Pharaoh continued to harden his heart, and at the end, eventually, he let the people go. They're alluding to the same thing, okay? We took the Ark of the Covenant. God's been plaguing us wherever we go, killing us, messing up our land, messing up their gods, decommissioning the people. And they get to the point and say, look, send the thing back, give the Lord an offering, okay, for the 5 lords of the Philistines, okay, and give glory unto the God of Israel, as it says in verse 5, okay? 7. Now therefore make a new cart, and take 2 milch kine on which there have come no yoke, and tie the kine to the cart, and bring their calves home from them. And take the ark of the Lord, and lay it upon the cart, and put the jewels of gold which ye return him a trespass offering in a coffer by the side thereof, and send it away that it may go. Okay, so just confirming, get an animal, basically load it up with the offerings, the trespass offering, and send it back. Okay. 9. And see if it goeth by the way of his own coast to Bethshemesh, he hath done us this great evil. But if not, then we shall know that in not his hand smote us, it a chance happened to us. Okay, so they're basically saying, look, load it up, send it on its way, and let's just do this for example, okay? If it goes back the way that it's expected to go, then that's a sign that this was the Lord's doing, okay? But if it decides to go some other way, for example, and take some other way back, then what they're basically saying is, then it was just chance. What do you think? What way do you think it's gonna go? Okay, leave it in the comment section below. What way you think it's gonna go? 10. And the men did so, and took 2 much kine, and tied them to the cart, and shut up their calves at home. And they laid the ark of the Lord upon the cart, and the coffer with the mice of gold, and the images of their emerods. And the kine took the straight way to the way of Bethshemesh. Okay? So it wasn't chance. Went along the highway lowing as they went, and turned not aside, the right hand or the left. And the lords of the Philistines went after them unto the border of Bethshemesh. So not only did it go that way, it went specifically exactly that way. Didn't turn this way, didn't turn that way, went straight line, okay, to where it needed to go. So the first thing they do in Bethshemesh is make an offering, which makes sense, okay, because whenever there's some sort of huge situation, what do? Okay, you go through hard turmoil. It reminds me of Noah. Okay, Noah coming out of the ark, and what did he do? Made an offering. Okay, took some of the clean animals. That's why they took more clean animals. If you don't know that, I'll put the video up there talking about the ark and some misconceptions people don't understand. Okay, so he took some of the clean animals because they had more clean animals on the ark and made an offering. Okay, so the same thing they're doing here. The ark of God, the covenant's been gone for a little while. The first thing they do is they make an offering. Then what do they do next? 15. And the Levites took down the ark of the Lord and the coffer that with it, wherein the jewels of gold, and put on the great stone. And the men of Bethshemesh offered burnt offerings and sacrifices the same day unto the Lord. Okay? So far, so good. Let's do it here. Okay? The Levites, what do? Handle the ark. Which is fine. Okay? That's something they're supposed to do. And they continue making offerings, which is a good sign. 16. And when the 5 lords of the Philistines had seen, they returned to Ekron the same day. So they see all this unfolding and they say, okay, you know what? Good riddance. Okay, let's put it here. 5 field lords return. Okay. "17. And these the golden emerods which the Philistines returned, a trespass offering unto the Lord. For Ashdod." Okay. Let's do this. 1 for Ashdod. Okay. 1 for Gaza. 1 for Ascalon. 1 for Gath. And 1 for Ekron. Okay. And the golden mice, the number of all the cities of the Philistines, to the 5 lords of fenced cities and of country villages, even unto the great Abel, whereon they set down the ark of the Lord unto this day in the field of Joshua the Bethshemite. And he smote the men of Bethshemesh. Okay. Bethshemesh smitten. Why are they smitten? Because they had looked into the ark of the Lord, even he smote of the people 50,000 and 70 men. Okay? And the people lamented because the Lord had smitten of the people with a great slaughter. So, wow. Okay? Even if you think back to chapter 4, okay, with the Israelites, they lost 4,000, then they lost 30,000. Okay? So whether that was collectively 34,000 or if it was 34,000, it doesn't matter. Then you think about what happened previously to the Philistines. Yeah, they're going from city to city, but look what just happened to the men of Bethshemesh. Okay, 50,000, 70. Okay, just for let's say looking in the ark, and that's verse 19. And you'll be thinking, what is the issue here? Back here, okay, up here, what did it say? The Levites handled the ark. You need to go back to the book of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, where we get all the stipulations about the tabernacle, all of that kind of stuff, and who was supposed to touch stuff and who was supposed to do what. Okay, the Levites to do the ministry, the work, different work in regards to the tabernacle. Okay, but there was only a certain amount of people that were able to go into the holy place. Okay, that was designated only for Aaron's line. Okay, and even more specifically, the closer and closer and the more significant things got, the high priest. The high priest is the only person. But the problem is, the high priest is dead. Okay, we read that in the previous chapter. So there's a big issue, but either way, they shouldn't have been even looking in there. Okay, and that's obviously the problem. Okay. So what do they do now? And the men of Bethshemesh said, who is able to stand before this holy Lord God? And to whom shall he go up from us? And they sent messengers to the inhabitants of Kirjath-jearim, saying, the Philistines have brought again the ark of the Lord. Come ye down, fetch it up to you. Okay? So, now Bethshemesh, okay, request a pickup. Because they know now at this point, they've lost the most, probably, out of everyone. Okay? So now we've covered the whole situation with the offerings of the unbelievers, okay? Which is basically summed up here for the 5 laws of the Philistines. We also saw when it came to Bethshemesh, there was offerings, but this ultimately resulted in 50,000 plus people dying, getting wiped out by the Lord because they didn't stick to what he actually set up, okay, in regards to who's able to touch, okay, and who's supposed to go in and look at these kind of things, okay? So let's go to chapter 7. We've seen the plagues by God travel through the Philistine city as they sent the Ark of the Covenant around to different places, and the Lord plagued them. Okay, and obviously wiped out their god Dagon as well in 2 days. We saw the unbelievers make an offering, 5 gold emerods, 5 golden mice for the 5 laws of the Philistines. We've still got left evil judges and a new king. Okay, so you can see, okay, in the space of about 30 minutes, we can get through quite a sizable amount of text in the scriptures, which has loads of juice and loads of things for us to pull out and gather. And we're only really going through it just simply. Okay, we're not trying to do nothing too advanced. This is just to show you what can be done. Okay, if you devote about 30 minutes every single day through the year, you can read through the whole Bible in a year and get really good context and understanding, and learn a lot as we go through it. So that's chapter 7. And the men of Kirjath-jearim came and fetched up the ark of the Lord and brought it into the house of Abinadab in the hill, and sanctified Eleazar his son to keep the ark of the Lord. Okay. And it came to pass, while the ark abode in Kirjath-jearim, that the time was long, for it was 20 years. Okay. So the ark stayed in Kirjath-jearim 20 years. So where it was 7 months in the Philistines' land, however long in Bethshemesh, now it's finally staying in a place for quite a significant amount of time, which would suggest nothing major happened in that time. Okay. And it came to pass, 20 years, and all the house of Israel lamented after the Lord. And Samuel spoke unto all the house of Israel, saying, If ye do return unto the Lord with all your strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines. Okay. So Samuel says, put away strange gods and Ashtaroth, and serve the Lord, and he will deliver you. 4. Then the children of Israel did put away Baalim and Ashtaroth and served the Lord only. Okay. So the Israelites put away the false gods. Okay, so that's a good thing. And not only did they put them away, plus serve the Lord. Only. Okay? So they got back in line, got in check. Then the children of 5. And Samuel said, Gather all Israel to Mizpah, and I will pray for you unto the Lord. And they gathered together to Mizpah, and drew water, and poured out before the Lord, and fasted on that day, and said there, We have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpah. And when the Philistines heard that the children of Israel were gathered together to Mizpah, the lords of the Philistines went up against Israel. And when the children of Israel heard, they were afraid of the Philistines. And the children of Israel said to Samuel, Cease not to cry unto the Lord our God for us, that he will save us out of the hand of the Philistines. And Samuel took a sucking lamb and offered a burnt offering wholly unto the Lord. And Samuel cried unto the Lord for Israel, and the Lord heard him. Okay, and as Samuel was offering up the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to battle against Israel. But the Lord thundered with a great thunder on that day upon the Philistines, and discomfited them, and they were smitten before Israel. And the men of Israel pursued the Philistines and smote them until under Bethkar. Okay, so they put away Baalim and Ashtaroth and the strange gods, served the Lord only. Samuel was the intercessor. Okay. Then the Lord heard and delivered. Okay? And that's typically the chain of events. Okay? Put God first. Okay? Serve Him only. Okay? And He will deliver. That's the theme we've began all the way back from the death of Joshua when we went into the book of Judges. Okay? And now into Samuel, which is still a prophet. He's still a judge. We're still in that window. Okay? Even though the book of Judges is finished. Okay? But it's the same thing. When you serve the Lord only, you put away the false gods, call upon Him, okay? He'll deliver you. 12. Then Samuel took a stone and set between Mizpah and Shen and called the name of it Ebenezer, saying, hitherto hath the Lord helped us. Hath the Lord helped us. Okay? So the Philistines were subdued, and they came no more into the coast of Israel, and the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. And the cities which the Philistines had taken from Israel were restored to Israel from Ekron even unto Gath, and the coast thereof did Israel deliver out of the hands of the Philistines, and there was peace between Israel and the emerods. And Samuel judged Israel all the days of his life, and he went from year to year in circuit to Bethel and Gilgal and Mizpah, and judged Israel in all those places. Okay? And he's returned to Ramah, for there his house, and there he judged Israel, and there he built an altar unto the Lord. Okay? So you wrap up this chapter. Or in fact, let's do this. Samuel, all the days of his life. Okay? And there was no issue while Samuel was the judge. So I already alluded to it already. This is still the period pretty much of the judges. Okay? The only reason that the narrative has kind of shifted is because we've still got to hear about the new king that's going to get implemented. And this is really what happens, the big thing that happens in the book of Samuel. So 1 Samuel 8, the last piece of text in today's video, we've covered the death of priests Eli, Hophni, and Phineas. Okay, Phineas, his wife, was killed as well, and they had a son Ichabod that basically continued the lineage of Eli. Okay, they're plagued by God on the Philistines, and everywhere they moved the ark of God, God's curse came and continued to go. We've got an offering by unbelievers, which was by the Philistines. Okay, offering up for the 5 laws of the Philistines. We've still got to wrap up today's Bible study video. Okay, focusing on evil judges and a new king. So let's wrap up today's Bible study video and see what else it has in store for us. Okay, and it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his sons judges over Israel. Okay, so Samuel promoted his sons okay. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel. And the name of his second, Abiah, judges in Beersheba. Okay. So Samuel's getting old. He promotes his sons, Joel and Abiah. Okay. 3. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after Lucah and took bribes, and perverted judgment. Okay. So we've now been introduced to the evil judges. Okay. What did they do? They took bribes. Okay. Filthy lucre. And when you take bribes and you're interested for filthy lucre, you compromise yourself. And that's what they did. They perverted judgment. Now, what's interesting with this, there's a couple of things. We just saw, okay, we didn't see that's what happens that happened in the first video we did on the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 1 to 3, which was day 86. This is day 87. But in that video, watch it, God pronounced on Eli that his line was in trouble, basically. That's why, if you'd follow along with us, you wouldn't have been surprised when the death of the priest occurred. The only thing you may be surprised at is that it happened so quickly. But Samuel's sons are going in the same manner that Eli and his sons did. 4. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came unto Samuel unto Ramah and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. Okay? Six, but the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. 7, and the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. Okay? So what happens? They ask for a king. Why? Because other nations had a king. Now, up until this point, we read in the verse, God says, look, they didn't reject you, okay? Don't take this as a knock to say that, oh, you're old now, your sons don't walk after your way, give us a king like the other nations. God wasn't buying it. And God's giving you the insight to say, look, they wanted a king like the other nations to reject him, okay? Eight, according to all the works which they have done, since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. Now therefore, hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and shew them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. So, God says to them, look, God says to Samuel to say to them, look, from the day I took you out of Egypt until now, okay, you've tested me, you've tried to go after other gods, all this different kind of stuff. And I've delivered you ultimately through this whole scenario. So God says to Samuel, look, okay, say to them, look, you can have your king, but just so you know, basically tell them what's at stake, okay? And he says, tell them what kind of king they're going to have, okay? what does he say? 10. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. Okay? He's going to take your sons and appoint them to himself. Okay? For his chariots and his horsemen, and shall run before his chariots. Okay? So let's just say for work. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over 50s, and to ear his ground and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. Okay? So work related to war, husbandry. Leave a comment below if you know what husbandry is. And for those of you who don't know what that is, you can know what that is. And manufacturing, basically. And he will take your daughters, confectionaries, and cooks, and bakers. Take your daughters, bakers, cooks, confectionaries. And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, the best, and give to his servants. So he's going to take land. And he will take the 10th of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants. He's going to tax you. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses and put to his work. Okay? So, more of this, ultimately. Okay? He will take the 10th of your sheep and ye shall be his servants. So, more of this. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king which ye shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. So when everything starts going wrong, and you call on God, God's saying, I'm not going to hear you. 19. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay, but we'll have a king over us. Okay? So they rejected God again. That we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. Okay? So they're really dead set on this, the other nations. 21. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city. And that wraps up today's Bible study video. We heard about the evil judges, Joel and Abiah. The children of Israel have set up a new king. And that wraps up day 87 of Through the Bible in 1 year. We've covered 1 Samuel verse 4 to 8. Chapter 4 to 8, sorry. And literally, in under an hour, we've been able to cover all of this stuff, okay? Not only cover it, highlight some pivotal events. Hopefully you highlighted some pivotal events that weren't here as well. Let me know in the comment section what you highlighted. And we've also been able to take notes and just highlight certain things which are important in regards to what actually happened in each chapter one by one. So, if you want to continue with us on this journey, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, like this video obviously, and share it with your friends. And I'll see you on day 88 of Through the Bible in 1 year. Thanks and take care.